So yesterday we discussed something about the hysteria and how doctors used to treat hysteria and how Freud found that hysteria is caused not by any physiological reasons but by a psychological reason. And that reason was it is caused by, can anybody tell me what caused hysteria? Memories, reminiscences, especially memories of childhood, childhood abuse. Most of the patients complained that when they were children, somebody abused them. But then later Freud found that this was just a fantasy. This, in most cases, this had not taken place, but it was the fantasy of the patient. And it is thus he came to think about infantile sexuality. And we have discussed that also, that usually when we think about children, infants, we think about children, we think that children are very innocent, they don't know anything about the sex, they don't know anything about sexuality, they have no such desires or wishes. He came forward and he lectured. He said that it was a large auditorium in which he lectured, and there were many women also among the audience. And when he said something about this infantile sexuality, many of the women went out of the room, out of the auditorium. So they considered it as very blasphemous. That is, so we can see how bold Freud was, how daring he was in his theories. Okay, then we said something about the unconscious. So I think I have to tell you more about this unconscious. Okay, so conscious mind is the mind that is available to us. When you are wakeful, that is during the daytime, until we fall asleep, our conscious mind is working. We are conscious of everything. But when we fall asleep, the conscious mind also goes to sleep. Of course, not completely. Some little bit of conscious mind will be there. And then the unconscious mind takes over. It is the time for unconscious mind. And it is then the unconscious mind engages in creating dreams and so on. But in between the conscious and the unconscious, there is also an area called the pre-conscious. So when we have experiences, we have both pleasant or pleasurable and painful experiences. So we will have painful experiences and pleasant experiences. So human tendency is to repeat pleasant experiences. We want our pleasures to be repeated, right? And we want to forget our painful experiences. So what do? We push our painful experiences into the underground, that is our unconscious. That is called a repression. So we don't want these painful memories to come to our consciousness. Why? Because it is painful. So we want to avoid pain at any cost. So we don't want these painful experiences. So we push them under into our unconscious, and we like to repeat these pleasant experiences or pleasurable experiences. Now, once we repress these memories, whenever these memories try to come back, our mind will again repress them. So as a result, it will not appear in our consciousness. So we will not be conscious of whatever things we have repressed. We don't allow it to come back to our consciousness. So what is pre-conscious? Pre-conscious is, in our day-to-day life, we cannot remember everything, even though the unconscious will record every single second of your life. Every single second of your life is being recorded by your mind. Even though you may not be able to remember everything, it is still there, it is available there as a recording. Now, some of these things that you forget will remain in the pre-conscious. Now, you forget these things momentarily. They are not completely forgotten. Now, you can recall them back to your consciousness if you want. So, this is pre-conscious. So, things that are hidden in the pre-conscious can be recalled. But things that are in the unconscious cannot be recalled. And you need the help of a psychoanalyst to recall these things back into consciousness. Now, what happens to these memories or wishes or painful experiences that you have repressed? They appear in three forms, right? What are the three forms? One is dream. They appear in your dreams. Second is your neurotic symptoms. And third is parapraxis. What is parapraxis? Praxis, singular, praxis, plural. Parapraxis means slip of the tongue, forgetting certain names, right? Confused, bungled actions, even silence. We discussed why you forget certain names. Maybe because you don't like that person. So when you remember all other names, you forget the name of a single person. So there may be a reason for this. So in these three ways, the unconscious is available to us. But to make, even though these will be available to us, we do not get the full meaning of these things. So somebody must interpret these things for us, and then it will be made available into our consciousness. We become conscious of it, and that somebody or that job is done by the psychoanalyst. So he interprets your dream for you. He interprets your symptoms for you. He interprets the parapraxis for you. And then suddenly you recognize that you are doing this because of this, right? Your right hand is ticking because of this. Or you have a headache because of this. You suddenly realize and you are cured of the illness. So this is what a psychoanalyst does. So Freud said a dream is a wish fulfillment. Now, did Freud mean some dreams or all dreams? Freud said all dreams are wish fulfillment. That means you had a wish which could not be fulfilled, satisfied in real life. So what do? You satisfy that wish through a dream. Right? Freud's daughter Anna could not eat ice cream. So she satisfied it by dreaming about eating a lot of ice cream. So we imaginatively satisfy our unfulfilled desires of the day. All dreams were disguised wish fulfillments. So if that is the case, then it must be very easy for us to, very clear to us to understand what our wishes were. But looking at dreams, dreams will most often seem to us nonsensical. We don't get any meaning. We cannot make any meaning out of it. Now, why is this? Because Freud would say, your dream contains a wish, but that wish is disguised so that you do not recognize what that wish is. And there is a story about a lady who disagreed with Freud, and she narrated a dream that she had, and she asked him, Mr. Freud, please interpret this dream for me and tell me what was the wish I had. And the dream was that this lady dreamed that she was giving a party, right? A dinner party to her friends. And all her very close friends were invited. But then, suddenly something happened that she ordered for food, but then food was not available. And then she tried to ring the telephone was not working. And then she suddenly found that it's a Sunday, so all shops are closed, so food is not available. Right? She told Freud, Mr. Freud, my wish was to conduct a party, but that wish could not be fulfilled in my dream. If you say that dream is a fulfillment of wish, then I must have actually conducted, food must have actually available to me, and I must have actually conducted this party. But unfortunately, I could not conduct that party. And Freud interpreted that dream for her and pointed out what that wish was. Freud said, that is, among the invitees, that is, her friends, whom she wanted to invite, there was a particular lady who was very skinny, very lean. And unfortunately, this lady's husband had a fancy, or at least she suspected that her husband had a fancy for this skinny friend, right? And her husband did not like skinny women, even though he had a fancy for this skinny lady. Her husband did not like skinny ladies. Her husband liked plump, fat ladies. And Freud said, your party could not be fulfilled. Food was not available, because if food was available, this lady will eat a lot of food, she will become plump, and your husband may think of divorcing you and marrying that other lady. So that was your wish. So you did not want to give food to this lady, right? So that is why food was not available. So see how in a disguised manner everything has appeared in the dream. So it needed a psychoanalyst to interpret this dream for her. Freud said a dream is a disguised fulfillment of a wish. You cannot understand its meaning because it is disguised. Who disguised it? You disguised it. Why did you disguise it? Why did you disguise it? because it is painful to you. Because to think that you don't want to give food to your friend because you are afraid that your husband may fall in love with that friend is painful to you, isn't it? Right? Doubting your friend, suspecting some relationship between your friend and your husband, that thought is very painful to you, and consciousness did not want to entertain that painful thought. So that is why, but this thought must become a dream. So what is the solution? You disguise it. Now children's dreams are very simple, very direct. Anna was prevented from eating ice cream because she had some illness. She was suffering from fever, and then she dreamed about ice cream. Adults' dreams are not so direct. So no psychoanalyst is needed to interpret Anna's dream. Any layman can understand. But to interpret a grown-up person's dream is not an easy job, because the wish is disguised, appears in a disguised manner. So here we have our unconscious, and during our deep sleep, our ego is almost asleep. We are almost dead as far as the world is concerned, because our ego is asleep. So it is our ego that keeps us alive. And when the ego is asleep, the unconscious wakes up. It is time for unconscious for some action. So what does it do? It constructs a dream. First of all, there will be what Freud calls a latent content. Latent means hidden, not open. The latent content of the dream, because there is some unfinished business here. Unconscious wants to finish that business, so it decides to create a dream, something like you are planning a dance or planning a play, right? Subconscious plans a dream. So first of all, there is the latent content, and then if that latent content is presented in dream in a straightforward manner, it will be very painful to you, so that you will wake up from your sleep, because it is so painful, right? So your unconscious does not want to disturb your sleep, but at the same time it must perform this drama of sleep. So what is the solution? It transforms the latent content using three things: distortion, condensation, and displacement. So all elements of the latent content are go through these processes. The latent content will be somewhat large, and all these contents will go through this process, dream work, and then the final product, the manifest dream, that we see is available to us. But if the latent content was this much, so big, the manifest dream will be compressed to this much only. Right? So compression also takes place.